himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Mileham in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the down pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is
coming down.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Sunday evening of the Tanso Racing Group rounds 1 and 2 around the Hockenheimring. We're going to jump straight into things more or less here tonight because we are already into qualifying. Commentary tonight will be brought to you by myself, and we have Mr. Dean Biggles in the booth with me tonight. But what an opening round we have, and what a track we're on tonight as well. Everything up for grabs. You got the drivers that have moved around after last season's results. We had some highs, we had some lows, but there are winners that have moved up from the AMs to the pros, and you'll notice the slight colour differences on some of the cars on the standings there on the left-hand side. There's a lot more blue out there tonight, which is something very noticeable, but we're jumping straight into qualifying here, and as you can see, we've already got cars testing out the grass and testing out the limits of their vehicles on the slippery terrain on the outside of the tracks there. But just nice and quickly welcome in Biggles. Dean, how's it going?
Good. Well, it's fantastic to be back, of course, and
Some motor racing, another season 4, as you mentioned, and we're going to have our rounds 1 and 2 here at the Hockenheimring. As Harry Fox goes quickest, I think, as well, too. There are on their lone qualifying session, only about 3 minutes and change to go, so probably 1 or 2 laps at best. But yes, it's good to be back, Mr. Callum, alongside a legend like you.
Oh, glad to have you back. Thank you very much. And, well, looking at the top 3 then as it stands at the moment, Harry Fox closely followed by Ryan Dudley, who's currently sitting in the pit. Mark Brown, who's currently out on track at the moment. He's not too far behind those front 2 runners. And a 10th off is Mr. Daniel Wareham, and then followed by Alex Sylvester as the rows go down from there. Daryl Morrison is in P8. He was kind of coming in fresh towards the end of last season, and this is the start of his first full season with Tanso Racing Group, so it'd be good to see what Mr. Morrison can do. We've got a few other fresh names in there, I think. Rick Wishen, hopefully I've pronounced your surname correctly, sir, but Mr. Wishen is in for his debut race in the Tanso Racing Group as well, I believe, here tonight. But we're into the last 2 minutes now of qualifying. Harry Fox leads the way, and, well, what can we expect from a track like Hockenheim tonight?
A lot of pace, a lot of speed, a lot of overtaking opportunities as well, too. It's one of those classic tracks. Of course, this is a different variation of it. Now, just to show you the track map currently at the moment, there it is. So it's not that much of a difference. You probably explain specifically where that variation is. We are watching Rick at the moment there, the number 74 machine. That's just joined the league, as you said, but approaching these final couple of corners. Yeah, it's great. Look, overtaking opportunities in the hairpin and some of the other sectors as well. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so the number 1 place that has been removed now is, well, there's 15 turns in total on this course that we see here tonight. And as Mr. Wishen goes around there, in fact, this is a perfect opportunity. The corner that we're approaching now, it's a sharp right-hander. This is turn 6. Well, on the GP streak, they would actually carry on down there, as you just saw on your camera, a glimpse second, and then come back onto where I think this is Mr. Johnson we're on board with at the minute. This is where they would come back to. So there's a big sort of long hairpin that's been taken out of this and turned into a double right-hander, which is turn 6 and 7, which Mr. Johnson executed perfectly going around there for our demonstration. But that is the variation between the track tonight and the normal track that you'd normally see at Hockenheim with some of the bigger cars. So we are on a slightly shorter track, but not by much. Only 2 or 3 turns have been taken out of the course tonight, so there's still plenty of room for mistakes, overtakes, and all kinds of shenanigans tonight. Hopefully things will get off to a nice clean start, and we are about to round up your qualifying session. Mr. Johnson, the last one out there at the minute on track, rounding off the pack in P22 there. And there we go, there is qualifying over and done with,
which will give us our grid for tonight's first race. Go ahead.
Yeah, so starting on pole, we've got Mr. Harry Fox, Ryan Dudley, P2, Mark Brown rounding off your podium spots in P3, Dan Wareham, P4, Alex Sylvester, P5, Aaron Hobson, P6, John Sylvester, P7, Daryl Morrison, P8, Martin Hobson, P9, Scott Kostrick, P10, David Smith, P11, Neil Rocks rounding off your top 12 there, Mark Proctor, P11, and then the start of the AMS, Rick Wishen there, P14, Dave Clark, P15, Ayrton Hadfield, P16, Kevin Randall, P17, Lee Rylands, P18, Adrian Hadfield, P19, Stuart Briley, P20, Pete McKendrick, P21, and John O. Johnston in P22 there, rounding off your top 22, your entire grid for tonight's round 1 event. And there's a couple of new names in there, a couple of new families in there by the looks of it, a couple of surnames that looked identical. So yeah, there's going to be a couple of family rivalries, I think, this season, so we're looking forward to that. We'll just wait for the lights to get up underway here and watch these cars hopefully not get too much wheel spin off the line, off of their standing start. As we see the pole sitter there of Harry Fox on the right-hand side of your screen now as we look at it, with quite a few pink bonnets sitting behind him, so there's going to be quite a bit of pressure when he sees that much pink in his rear view mirror. And, well, it's definitely not hard to tell where Mr. Mark Brown is. He always has the lightest green wheels on the course, and well, the lights are going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're underway. Great start from your leader, Harry Fox. A bit of wheel spin there from Ryan Dudley, but he's holding the position as it stands, and he's just lost it as soon as I say that to Mark Brown. Mark Brown's pushed up into P2. He's going to go around the outside line. He's going to hold it as well. So he's moved up into P2. That start didn't really benefit Ryan Dudley at all. And, well, he's currently sitting P3, but he's got Dan Wareham on his inside, so he could move down to P4 after the matter of the first 2 corners of Season 4 here. And he does do that. He's moved down to P4 as it sits, but he's still battling out. He's back up into the podium spots. So the 3 pinks are battling out nice and strong here for the podium spots. You can see the cartoon of Scott Kostrick in the mid-pack back there as well. Those guys are still all bunched together. There's a bit of a gap between Darren Morrison and David Smith here, about a second between the two. But it looks like all cars got off to a nice start here so far, Dean. And unfortunately, it looks like Pete McKendrick is the only car that I guess didn't get off the line, or possibly in the pit.
In the pit lane, I think he entered the pit road. Exactly. Or something wrong the line there. But apart from that, no accidents. Well, spoke a little bit too soon. Looks like Stewart's had a little bit of a moment. And that's Stewart Pirelli. But we'll get back to that one in a second, because I just want to see what's happening here with the teammates. You just see a puff of smoke in the background. That was actually Kevin Randall, I think. That's had a moment. Look at this. This battle itself is helping Harry Fox just get away with this one. Right up the road, Harry Fox now is a 2-second gap, and this is this gaggle and squaggle of teammates right here. Go back to that little replay at the start. This is what happens with Stewart. And we'll get that at full speed here, actually, in a second. Yep. Should be able to get that at full speed.
It's a bit of door bashing. Nothing too major there. I think it's going to be corner to corner, maybe. Oh, no, I think he's just got on the accelerator a bit too keen there and spun it round.
It's Kevin Randall, unfortunately.
Well. Kevin Randall looks like he's done the same thing, but he's ended up kissing the barrier. Now, one thing to mention is you kind of just saw it then. We don't have damage on in this season, so there is no damage here. So these cars should be able to carry on. However, Kevin Randall's gone to the pit lane, so whether anyone's told him that or not, I don't know. One thing is to mention, though, Mark Brown is in the Simtech livery, and well, he wasn't last season. He was in the Legends Racing 43 car, the black and green typical monster energy looking car. Oh. Wow, what a move. Geez, turned into 3 wide there, both cars splitting, turning that into a 3-car sandwich right there, heading into the double right-hander. And well, what a move that was. And there's been position changes all over the shop in the top 3 as it stands at the moment, because Alex Sylvester is now pushing his way through there. I believe he's in the more plain white livery, which is slightly different from what we've seen last season as well. So here we are on board with Mr. Wareham, and this is the double right-hander. And well, he gets through, but then the cars behind him get absolutely swamped by each other, really. And well, the person that came out best in that is Mr. Sylvester.
Thanks, absolutely. I want to see that one again from the helicopter, actually, so just bear with me. We'll have to go back on that. Actually, there it is. So that's this straight down the middle. You saw over the rear. Bang! Seizes the opportunity. Manages to stop in time. And bingo, just like that, gets the job done. But I think there is... they didn't get the job done. There's somebody going into pit road.
Yeah, well, there is some differences in the liveries this year by the looks of things as well. You know, we've mentioned about how Mark Brown is part of the Simtech boys now, and looks like, well, one of the Sylvesters hasn't gone for the typical white and red and black livery. He's gone for just the white and black, all carbon by the looks of it, which is a bit of a difference, but it helps us tell the difference between the two. And Mark Brown's tried to get the inside line there, doesn't quite do it. There's a bit of contact between some cars here. Mark Brown and Ryan Dudley having a bit of contact there, a bit of a paint exchange going on, and Mark Brown's having to defend the inside line now to Aaron Hobson. Aaron Hobson's going to swing back around onto the inside line, and
Aaron's caught this party, hasn't he? Just like that.
This is a bit odd, because Aaron Hobson's in the livery that I thought John Sylvester is normally in. So I've been misled here. I need to get used to everyone's liveries now, because they've all changed around so much since I last saw them. And yeah, there's people. I mean, one's for certain that hasn't changed is Scott Kostrick. I could spot that car anywhere, any day. You know, the Comet car. Love that thing. So Scott has kept his same look for this season. But Aaron Hobson, I think, is also another newcomer into the Tanso Racing Group, and well, what job he's doing already battling with Mark Brown there. Rick Wishon, another newcomer, he's currently battling out with a bag of M&Ms next to him on wheels as he takes the outside line down the home straight now, leading towards the start-finish line. For the first couple of laps, that rounds off your first 5 minutes there of racing for your start of season 4. And taking a bit of a wide line into turn 1 there. That's probably going to be a bit of track limits going on, but he holds the position against the M&M's car there, and well, he's got the outside line leading into the next turn. That's probably not going to benefit him whatsoever, and the Sweets take the lead. Their faces are ecstatic on the side of that car with this battle. They're still side by side though, bearing in mind, and Rick Wishon's actually given him, well, a run for his money really, and he's actually holding the position there side by side for well over half a lap now. How long can these two keep this going? This is spectacular work from these two. Losing a bit of time to the cars behind, don't get me wrong, because they are battling no end, but how long are they going to be able to keep this side-by-side action going? I think, just as I said that, we're just about at the end of it, and it's Mark Proctor that's the other M&M's car out there tonight. Mr. Mark Proctor, hats off to you, sir. Great battling with one of the newcomers to the league. Fantastic stuff there. Probably one of the more eye-catching liveries for some people watching at home. Mark Brown P9 currently. He's fallen down the grid a little bit. Has some slight slip-ups, I'd say. A little bit of paint bashing. Oh, there's another little slip-up there, and a few cars involved. And, well, lovely pirouettes there from Mark Brown and Daryl Morrison, that is, in the dark green. There's cars going off everywhere now. It's utter carnage. But Mark Brown gets going again. Rick Wishon, one of the newcomers, he is off going again. And, well, Neil Rocks, it looks like anyone kind of from P14 down pretty much got involved with that, apart from maybe Dave Clark. I'm not too sure if he got there in time, but there's Neil Rocks off. The damage limitation, really. He managed to control his car fairly well and gets on track in a good safe point. Didn't have too much troubles with any cars coming up behind.
This is a replay of what happened. There's the slight contact. We caught that one, and then there it is. So a few more cars get involved. Couple of little sympathy spins from other drivers in the background as they come around here, and then they see this approaching. Of course, hit the brakes, your rear end goes around, trying to avoid a collision, almost getting in one yourself. This is what happens, and you can see how many gaggles of cars have now changed their position. And Phil, you enjoyed it at the right time, didn't you, my friend? As soon as you came in there, you caught that action. Welcome Phil across the pond there. He's saying hi to Callum and myself. G'day to have you there as well too, as Ivan out there was saying good luck to Sylvester and the Hobson boys. And there's your M&Ms before there, Martin Lee, that you were talking about with Scotty. That was Mr. Mark Proctor.
There he is.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do some revision and brushing up on my liveries now, because I was relying on that heavily to get the names right last season, and now I'm going to have to do it all over again. So that's one thing I'll have to get used to. But the M&Ms of Mark Proctor is now taking the battle to Ayrton Hadfield. These two I know the difference between. Both of the Hadfields. Ayrton has the light blue bonnet there, and Adrian will have the green bonnet. Both of them are currently in the AMS, so it'll be interesting to see, is it the battle between the family for the leader of the AMS this season? Well, we'll soon find out as the season progresses. Mark Proctor trying to stick his nose up the inside there, didn't quite do it. Had a bit of a rough bump there off the inside curb, and well, that's cost him a little bit of time, because now you're going to have a couple of cars behind looking to try and push their way through. And there's the other Hadfield, Adrian Hadfield, with the light green bonnet there, taking the inside line in this battle of four, really, as it stands at the moment, 2 by 2, as they come around looking towards the double right-hander. And there's a bit of squeezing going on there. Mark Brown's had to sort of, he's kind of realised how close the cars are and sort of shimmied off to the right a little bit. And Mr. Morrison, oh, is he going to get payback? Oh, he nearly did, and he's nearly cost himself and the Whisk car there as well. But luckily, they all get off, and it's the two newcomers that are both battling side by side at the minute as it stands. Darren Morrison and Rick Wishon.
This is good elbows out racing, of course. So the off season's over, the silly season's over. As you said, a little bit of a switcheroo in the different liveries and stuff. But now they're eager to go racing, of course, around season 4. And it'll just be our first round 1 and 2. 2 will be coming up a little bit. So, yeah, good to see it. they're probably the bestest of friends off track, but when they're on track, they're mortal enemies. We all know how it goes like that, isn't it? You want to beat the other drivers to the punch, to the checkered flag, really, more than anything. And it's still not much of a change. Harry still has that commanding lead out front there of 2.8 seconds, but this still, interwar team weight battles are all behind Alex. Battling for that P2 position. They've dropped a few cars now, so podium's probably here. And there's 4 cars potentially up for this podium. Well, these 3 actually here, because there's Harry right there up the road. So Harry should be able to lock in that P1. But P2, P, and P3 final podium positions have to be divided between these 3 cars to play musical chairs, my friend, and somebody's going to be left without a chair.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's going to be interesting, the battle all season long, I'm sure, between the Simtech boys, since they're all on a team, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any team tactics. You don't normally get that in these short races, 20-odd minute races. You don't see stuff like you would normally in, for example, like F1, where the races are a lot longer and there's team tactics involved. For example, Checo and Verstappen working together in the end of the 2021 season. That's always something I refer to. A great show of teamwork between those two. So I wouldn't say you'd see it often in these races, but full well, when you've got 3 Simtech boys all challenging for podium, there's going to be some kind of tactics later in the season, because you want to get one of the guys from that team winning the championship for the pros. And well, that's one thing they're going to have to decipher as the season goes on, and who's overall the quickest. And well, if they want to go along that route, they need to nominate someone really as soon as possible and sort of try and push. And there goes the Newcastle fan of Mr. Rylands going around, Lee Rylands and Mark Brown. Mark Brown's been in a couple of incidents tonight, so unfortunate for him, not the ideal start to the season. And well, Mark, I think you need to go back to the Legends livery, mate. I think it's the black and green. You're not used to being in all this pink. The pink's putting you off on that bonnet. It's too bright. So Mark Brown's in a couple of collisions, but he's still going, and still going strong as well. He's got a bit of a gap behind him. Ryan Dudley at the minute is tracking down Alex Sylvester. 4 tenths behind Dudley, though, is Dan Wareham. He's going to be sniffing to look to get on that podium, but are they going to try and push each other off? Are they actually going to push each other to their limits, or are they going to work together to catch Sylvester and try and make Sylvester concede 2 positions instead of the 1? We're coming up to 13 minutes in this race. There's not long to go now for these guys, so if they want to make their moves, they need to be making them soon. They can't be sort of dawdling around and just thinking about it. Harry Fox has quite a substantial lead at the minute, and well, the time is going down a little bit to Sylvester in some areas, but it doesn't stay down. That's the thing. Harry Fox gains it back again. So, and these guys are really pushing it to their limit. You can see the push on the Simtech guys there, especially Mr. Dudley, really trying to get close enough to make a move on Sylvester, and I'm sure within the next couple of laps we will see said move. But if you were Ryan Dudley in this situation, Biggles, what would you be thinking? What would you be doing?
Getting down to the dying stage is just, you've been studying your opponent up the road there. You've been studying Alex Sylvester's car for some time, so you got to seize an opportunity. Perhaps if he has the pace, he might be feeling, damn, I just can't. Alex is just exiting those corners at all the right speed. I can't try to get something done. I guess just continue to do the absolute best you can to try to force him into a mistake. That's probably the best. Looks like David, speaking of mistakes, might have had an off-track excursion, as well as Lee. Sure they came together or not. Here's Lee. No, they haven't. And it's a different Dave, this. So he's just gone off slow there to let the driver through, so that's something else. But this is David Smith. And that's just out wide. Yeah, somebody was just mentioning before, isn't it? Helen, track limits. Left and right. Left, right, and center, exactly. They are kind of exploring these track limits around here, as you can clearly see.
I think they're all, they've just had their off season, so they're all pushing the car to its limit and seeing what they could get out of it. I don't think the GR86 has had an update since we last saw these in action in the Tanso Racing Group, so it should feel more or less the same, but being a couple of weeks out of the vehicle is not going to really help, especially for muscle memory as well. So these guys are trying to obviously reel that end zone back in as quick as they can. Once again, Simtech boys going at it bumper to bumper as it stands at the moment. I believe there's 3 of them out in the field at the minute, Mark Brown being one of them, and the other 2 are right here on your screens, Mr. Daniel Wareham and Ryan Dudley. It will be interesting to see if these guys are actually a team of 3, or if Mark Brown's just running the livery. just to, I guess, blend in or join in, because I'm not too sure if there is any limitations on how many you can have per team. So if there is three, I wonder what they'll do in the championship standings. And wow, what a drift from Mr. Daniel Wareham.
Did
Well
you see
caught,
that? We
sir.
were riding on board there. I thought we were going to the Goodwill's Speed Festival, some of those drifting that they did for the last time today. That was amazing. Let's go back and I don't know if we can actually go back and have a look at that, because the fact is it wasn't actually bringing up anything as an event.
No, I don't think
We
we'll
did
be
catch it
able
live
to, but-
anyway, because we were riding on board.
we
so.
certainly did. And well, that's a good Tokyo Drift audition there for Daniel Wareham. And well, what a mighty drift that was. He didn't lose too much time. You know, he is down a couple of seconds now to Ryan Dudley there. But
Hope you enjoyed that
look,
one.
you can
Somebody
see
clip that if you can at the moment, because that was absolutely fantastic. Code
can
Brown
see him
moment
in
for
the
him.
background.
Here's Scotty. You said you can't miss him, of course, of Scotty's livery out there, which we do love. I mean, it could be something you could sell in an art museum, isn't it?
That certainly is. And when we had Dan in the booth a couple of seasons ago, he also said that this is voted his favourite one of the season when we were originally doing the Tanso Racing Group broadcast. So it's been a commentator's favourite for quite a while, Mr. Kostrik's livery, and he's probably heard that, and that's probably the reason it hasn't changed. But it is a nice livery. It does stand out. I'm not too sure if that's a personal one or it's one he's found on the paint system, but it'll be interesting to find that out one day. I might have to send him a little message and just find out if that is something he made himself, or if that was bought off of anyone, shall we say. So, as it stands, Alex Sylvester in the white carbon fibre car in P2 at the minute, leading in front of Ryan Dudley, who's got a couple of second gap to Daniel Wareham. Now there is Mr. Ryan Dudley, and this is the view he has, and this is the view he's had for, well, the last few laps really. He's getting really close in the braking zones, and I think Alex Sylvester is just doing a damage limitation at the minute. He's just trying to hold off Dudley in the places he possibly can. If it means braking the slightest bit earlier, then so be it, but that could also be the quickest way around some of these corners as well. You know, you brake earlier and you power through it, and well, he's down to 2.9 seconds on Harry Fox, so he has picked up a bit of ground on the leader there, but with Ryan Dudley sniffing around the back of his car, and wow, look how close they're getting there. They're almost making contact, but with these two being this close, I don't think Sylvester's going to find it easy to try and track down the leader, because he's got to worry about defending first. You've got to, you know, the best form of defence is attack, and really he's got to attack Ryan Dudley first, even though he's behind him, and kind of just slow him up before he can push on for Harry Fox. So he's not got long to do it though, just over 2 minutes now, and well, that seems to have flown by so far.
Absolutely time to shine right now if he wants to get it done, because you can see for our Heat 1, only a couple of minutes to go. Look at the sensation of speed as they drive over the GoPro camera. And he's giving it everything he possibly can out of the corner there, Callum. So is this going to be a drag race sprint down at turn 1?
He certainly is, and well, Alex Sylvester's going to have the outside line, and Ryan Dudley's going to try and take the inside. He gets the big jump on the curb that time, doesn't manage to stick the position. I think we saw Mark Proctor earlier in the race do that, and well, you can see that it's had the same outcome as earlier in the race, and it's cost him a bit of time, but once again, in the braking zone, look how close he gets to Alex Sylvester. In the braking alone, Ryan Dudley is just amazing at getting his braking points spot on and getting close in the battle. And talking of battles, battle of four here, the Whisk livery cars pushing up on Aaron Hobson, opting for the outside line. I'm not too sure if that's the best line to go for if you want to get the position done. Hobson's going to hold the inside, and hold it he does. The momentum's being carried by the Whisk livery car there. He's going to have the inside line now, and as they come around this sort of, I wouldn't really class it as a straight, but long bend, he's still going to have the inside. But he really does need to think about what he's going to do, because we're coming up to a right-hander here, and this is where he needs to have that track position. He hasn't got it, so Aaron Hobson is going to be sitting out in front and probably slowed Neil Rocks down a little bit. Not too much so. Neil Rocks is going to come back on the attack. He's still within range easily of a shot at P10. And, well, he needs to get there as soon as possible, because we haven't got that long left.
Will Harry get across? I think Harry's going to get across. Look at the time at the moment. So this, yeah, for sure. They should be seeing Barney for one more lap. There is Barney waving the white flag, I was going to say, because Yeah, a couple of seconds later, of course, that would have been the final lap, but there it is. So Harry's going to be doing the final lap right now. Basically, final lap, probably his hand out the window and start waving to the fans out there because he's comfortably controlled this race from the very start. And now it's Ryan's chance currently at the moment to see if he wants to snatch that P2 position. And they still, the main thing is about it is that it's still positive that they could see Harry up the road, isn't it? But for now, at this point, and I wonder if Alex has even bothered to look at his mirrors. He's got a full of Ryan in his mirrors. And Daniel, we saw, had a little bit of a major save moment. So he's just, I guess he's very, very lucky to be in that 4th place, considering it could have been a lot worse than this. But this is potentially who wants the P2. Ryan wants it so bad. Alex is doing something so great defending. Look where he's parking the car. He's like, I'm on the racing line, buddy. Find a way around me, which means you're going to scrub some speed. So that's all Alex could do, isn't it?
That certainly is. And, well, like you said, I think the best thing they can clutch onto at the minute is the fact that they can still see Harry Fox. He's not, crawled off into the distance, being like 5, 6, 7 seconds ahead. He's only a couple of seconds ahead of the 2 other podium sitters there. And here is your leader. He's going to be coming around the final few turns now. Just look above Barney's head and you'll see his car come around. Here it comes into shot now. I can see it coming around. There it is. Here comes Harry Fox in for your winner for race 1 of the first, well, the first season. Season 4, sorry. This is the first round of season 4. Your race winner is Harry Fox, followed by Alex Sylvester, Daniel Wareham. So they are your podium sitters for the very first race. Martin Hobson coming across in P4. These two almost coming across the line at the same time. Ryan Dudley and Sylvester there as well. Scott Kostrick flashing his lights as he comes across the line in P7. David Smith will be leading this pack of cars as a group of 4 that's been battling out most of the race, really. As they all come by, there goes Darryl Morrison as well. And we'll just wait for the double Hadfields to come over. One after the other there. Nice to see. Mark Brown, we just saw go by there. See if Mark Brown can pounce in race 2. And we'll just wait for the remainder of the vehicles to come across the line before we bring you your grid.
Yeah, just like that. So that was fantastic. Just showed John Johnson, and both those Hatfields are very, very close, aren't they, for the AM class. Battle to be resuming, no doubt, and I hope everybody really did enjoy that first race of the season. It's going to be fun, and I imagine the second race is always going to be action-packed, isn't it? We'll get those race results up at any time soon for you to go over. Do you use that DW20 oil up there? That's
a rather large oil can.
They have a Jim Clark memorial here too. I totally forgot about that, of course, in honour for the Scottish driver. Do have a Scottish driver on the grid.
Here's a fun little thing we can play. I don't have the answer, but we're going to give it our best guess. I think we should all, with those watching at home, we should try and guess how many litres is in that big DW bottle.
Point.
So, yeah, put your guesses in the chat, let us know. But here is your Heat 1 results then. Harry Fox is the first winner of this season. So Harry Fox finishes on the pole position. Alex Sylvester P2, Dan Wareham P3. That is your podium sitters for race 1. Martin Hobson just missing out there in P4. Ryan Dudley P5. John Sylvester P6. Scott Kostrick P7. David Smith P8. Mark Proctor P9. Aaron Hobson P10. Neil Rocks P11. Darryl Morrison P12. Ayrton Hadfield leading the AMs there in P13. Adrian Hadfield closely following in P14. Rick Wishen in P16 there. Mark Brown in between them. Sorry, in P15. Lee Rylands P17 and Dave Clark P18 there. And, well, P19 Stuart Brierley. P20 John Johnston. Kevin Randall P21. And rounding off the grid, the man that I don't think made it out in the end was Pete Kendrick there. So not a bad race for the Hadfield family, I have to say, from what we've seen in race 1, and not a bad race overall for the Hobson family either. So both of those family sitters are looking quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Just a short.
Oh, sorry, and the Sylvesters.
And the Sylvesters, yeah. The only problem is, the results that were there before was I have to give it to poor Kevin Randall. I didn't show all the incidents, but Kevin Randall just had one of those days where, things just aren't turning out for you, having a lot of mistakes and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter too much there because, some drivers are certain tracks, some are getting used to it and things like that in the league. And you know what? I like it. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to get some experience and racing and stuff like that. So good on him there for giving that one a burl there, even though he was in the incidents reports quite a few times. But I believe it's just his own incidents. Trust me, my friend, I'd be 10 times worse than everybody else here on the grid. But I don't even think I could do a lap around here without knocking myself out a few times. But we are in a warm-up, aren't we? Go ahead.
Well, to be fair, one thing I will say is I've had this exact kind of night not too long ago, actually, either. It was in the... I can't remember what it was in now. I think it might have been in the GR86. It was a Lime Rock of all tracks. It's not a complex track or anything like that. But I ended up getting lapped twice, and I couldn't keep the car on track. So you do have one of them nights where, especially if it starts to get in your head and you get a bit wound up, things just pile on top of each other, and then it's just one thing after another, and you feel like it's just going to be the end of the world at this rate because you can't do anything right, and it gets you and it bothers you. But hopefully the mentality will change though for race 2, and those drivers that did feel like that in race 1 can obviously bounce back and try and get up the grid for the second race here at the Hockenheimring. Well, we've seen a great first race. We've seen a very large oil can, and what's more to love than that, really? We've had some fantastic showing so far. Unfortunate for Mark Brown in the opening race of the season. I have full confidence in him, though, that he'll manage to pull it back in race 2. Remember, there is a reverse grid, so when the warm-up is finished, we'll bring you your grid, and it'll be the reverse as well. So those that were towards the back of race 1 will be able to capitalise on that and be starting near the front of the grid for race 2.
So,
Helen Morrison in the chat says, great commentary. Thank you very much, Helen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Helen. Did you get a guess there for that oil bottle there, the large oil container? Hopefully the pictures will show that one up a bit. But there it is on the screen right now. Yep, your guess of how many liters are in that oil bottle. Or you could do it in gallons if you want. By the way, too, just to let you said, so it's a reverse grid of all the grid, not just say 15 or 10 or something like that. That's correct, Callum?
That is a very good question. Invert of 15, I believe.
15.
It's the invert,
okay.
Yes, top 15. So we'll have the top 15 reversed, and obviously those that finish just outside that 15th spot in race 1. I'm sorry, we're not trying to rub it in, but those guys are going to benefit that finish sort of P15, 14, and 13. Those three are going to be your podium sitters, and they're going to hopefully thrive and use this opportunity to really try and push forward. But you've got to remember, you're going to have some of the fast guys trying to cut through the pack, and one guy that his nickname should be Pack Cutter or something along those lines is Mr. Mark Brown, because he does it every single time we're out here for the Tanso Racing Group, and he makes it look so easy and effortless. He just glides through. So, speaking of Mark Brown,
yes,
he's P1, so he's not going to have to cut through any grids. Adrian Hadfield P2, Ayrton Hadfield P3, Darren Morrison P4, Neil Rocks P5, Aaron Hobson P6, Mark Proctor P7, David Smith P8, Scott Kostrick P9, John Sylvester ran off your top 10, Ryan Dudley P11, Martin Hobson P12 there, and in P13, we'll just wait for that to scroll its way through.
Oh yeah, for me to do it, yes, exactly, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's Dan Warren P13, Alex Sylvester P14, Harry Fox P15, Rick Wishon P16, Lee Rollins P17, Dave Clark P18, Stuart Briley P19, Johnny Johnston P20, Kevin Randall and Pete McKendrick rounding off your final right there in the pack. And we're underway already. Didn't really give me much time to say all of that. And Johnny Johnston's taken a very wide line for a start. He's always looked like he was trying to get into the pits. He didn't want to go out for the race 2, but Mark Brown comes across. There's a bit of door bashing going on there. Darren Morrison, Neil Rocks there going side by side. There's a car off in the distance. He's sideways just after turn 1. Not too sure who that was, but unfortunate for them. And look, the Hadfields are taking it 3 wide now. They're going to be side by side. Which bonnet's coming out on top, light blue or light green? Don't touch each other too much. Don't send each other off, because I tell you what, that family dinner tonight won't look too pretty if you're going to hit each other off the track. Those two coming by, they were side by side, but now they've given each other the track position and settled down. But what a battle we have here. Still, the Hadfields are battling out between the cars around them, and Scott Kostrick's going to take a wider line through there. There's contact.
Oh.
The Hadfields have actually benefited from that big time. All the cars they were battling have now actually just spun out and crashed out on that turn. So they've now profited big time off of that situation there. And, it was Adrian Hadfield that, Ayrton got away in front of the collision, and Adrian kind of got caught up but chose the inside line. And, wise decision that was. Missed the collision in total. And, a bit of an action-packed start compared to what we've seen in race 1.
It was too. Let's have a look. Look at the amount of drivers that just couldn't get into the gear there, and just you've got a whole mix of different speed as they approach it. You get 3 wide in multiple locations at the moment through this grid, and then of course what happens when you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 and through into a corner? Well, you get that concertina effect, don't you? But look at that, 4 wide. Look how narrow the track is. There's barely any room to sneak anything there, but they're going to find a way, and this is where it all goes a little bit pearl-shaped with different speeds, as you can see. From your race start, and we'll go of that a bit later on, because there's still more racing action, of course, going on currently at the moment. The live pitches.
Well, Darren Morrison is 2 seconds behind your leader, Mark Brown. He seemed to sail away with it from turn 1 straight away. And look at that, Mr. Kevin Randall, who I believe it was him in race 1 that we said didn't have the best of night so far. He's up 9 positions as it stands.
Yes.
He's your best man when it comes to overtaking. Some would say driver of the race. I won't say driver of the day, because there's 2 completely different races, but driver of the race so far will have to be Kevin Randall, with how many cars he's overtaken. Harry Fox has overtaken 7 people as well. Stuart Briley on 6. We do have Martin Hobson, who's on 5. The Hobson boys, I believe, are newcomers to the season as well. Lee Rylands at the minute is putting the pressure on, and what can Lee Rylands do against Stuart Briley here? He's going to go towards the outside line, and he's going to be on the inside following a few corners, but no, he's had to go on the brakes because he's been cut off a bit there, and he's actually conceded another position. So unfortunate for Lee Rylands, because Mr. Sylvester, John Sylvester that is, goes ploughing through and claims that position. Scott Kostrick, on the other hand, has just taken the inside line past Jono Johnson, who's up 2 positions. And, he's now in P17. He's going to be tracking down the many white cars that are in front of him. Dan Wareham taking the inside line now against Rick Wishen. And washes Wishen out to the outside line as he now claims the inside, claims the position, and pushes forward, aiming for Jono Johnson. It's still so action-packed. Cars going side by side. Ayrton Hadfield having to hold the outside line now against Martin Hobson. And, he's going to hold it for the entirety of this straight, leading into the next right-hander. He's still going to have the outside line, though, so he can't benefit on this unless he gets the switchback, which doesn't look like he's going to do. He's going to try and hold the momentum. We've seen that work so far this race, and, it's going to work here again, possibly, for Ayrton Hadfield as he holds his position, and he's still in a P6 as it stands at the moment.
Oh, this is great. We've seen this in race 1, didn't we? Some good wheel-to-wheel action. You can almost go side by side through the whole track here at Hockenheimring.
You smashed it. Yep, you smashed the pronunciation right there. I normally call it Hocks for short, but obviously if you don't pronounce that H clearly, it sounds a bit like something else, so I will try and avoid that while we are sitting here on the broadcast. But these cars still going 2 by 2, and Scott Kostrick's had a bit of contact there with Alex Sylvester. Sylvester won't be happy with that, and Kostrick, come on, get those wheels spinning, son. Get back going. And these cars are still banning out. Lee Rylands, the Toon fan there, going up the inside, claims that position on Stuart Briley. Stuart Briley's going to try and put the attack straight back on. He's looking for a switchback. He's cut back again, leading into the next corner, looking for the inside line. Doesn't have the track position to do so. He hasn't got his nose up the inside yet. He can smell glory on the other side of Lee Ryland's car, but he can't quite get his car into position for it. And Aaron Hobson's gone the quickest at the minute with a 1:38. So a very quick time there from Mr. Hobson. But Harry Fox just being out of a 1:30, a low 1:38 as well. I think it was a 1:38.2 there from Harry Fox. And here he is now in the Whisk livery, taking the inside line here against Ayrton Hadfield. Gets his nose in front. He's got the position according to our time and tower, but Ayrton's already taken this outside line, so he knows what he's doing. And he's going to hold the inside once again. This is just lap after lap. Ayrton's holding the same line and battling it out. And, well, fair play to sticking to your guns there. What a race Ayrton's having so far. But he's got Ryan Dudley to worry about. And Ryan Dudley's no slouch. He's going to be trying to get around as quick as possible, and he's done so. He's gone for the inside line. He's going to hold it. Gets through past Ayrton on the inside. A bit of contact there between the two. Sent Ayrton a little bit scrappy there on the exit of that turn, but both cars come out seemingly okay. And obviously, remember, damage is off, so there's no damage on either of them vehicles, luckily, after that. But good thing is they are both still going. So as it stands, Kevin Randall is your top man for overtakes. A big off track there for Mr. Morrison. And I believe Neil Rocks possibly had a little off track there as well in the other Whisk livery. Darren Morrison representing himself really in that dark green livery there, taking the outside line on Aaron Hobson, looking to try and get the inside line. Yeah, he's kind of looking up there, but doesn't go for it. He hasn't really got the momentum on the car ahead, but he's just outside the podium, so he's going to be itching to get inside that podium. He done so well at the end of last season. Can he capitalise and switch this season around? This will be his first full season, so I'm really excited to see what Morrison can do, because he was given a few of the quick guys a run for their money last season, so it'll be very interesting to see what will happen. And well, the other Hobson, Martin Hobson, is just down the road from Aaron. We'll have to find out the relation there, whether it's father or son, brother and brother, or whoever and whoever. You know, it could be anyone. So let's see what the relation is there at some point. I'll get that information for you over the next round or two. And well, he's going to be battling out with Mark Proctor in the M&M's car, who's going to hold the inside line leading into the next turn, which is a right-hander. And well, Mark Proctor's going to have to go a bit later on the brakes, which he does. Gets the car back to side by side, but got to be careful. Yeah, if they cut each other off here, it's going to be carnage for both of them.
And the other two up the road are also doing a similar things. It is nerve-wracking, absolutely out there ever. And Phil suggested as 100 gallons, sorry, in that oil container we were talking about a little bit earlier. We'll get Callum up there and we'll have him lift it up and give us a guesstimation of it. I think he lift up 100 gallons of motor oil.
I mean, I could certainly give it a good try. I do fancy myself to be a big old strong man, so I'll certainly get up there and flash my guns at the Hockenheimring and see what I can do. So I will try and get that measurement for you, Phil, as soon as possible. Find out if you're alright. It's like when you go to the carnival and you have to guess how many sweets are in the jar for the prize. It's a bit like that, really, just with litres. It
wouldn't be too bad, would it, actually, as a competition, if you were on a trackside here, realistically, having people guess that sort of stuff, because you wouldn't be able to get up there and touch it or get close to it.
No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, either way, Phil's the only one to put a guess in. So, Phil, you're going to have a VIP ticket to one of the Tanso Racing Group races this season. I can assure you that one, because you're probably going to be closest with the only guess of the competition. But Mark Proctor at the minute isn't looking to join our competition because he's trying to get on the back of this train of 4 as it stands now. And well, he's got Ryan Dudley in front of him, which we know isn't a slow driver, so he's going to use all the calories in that M&M's car he possibly can to get in front of him. Adrian Hadfield now pushing up onto the back of John Sylvester there. John Sylvester with a slight livery change, but he's coming around in the full carbon fibre. I've never seen carbon fibre white before, I will say, so this is the first time for me seeing a white carbon fibre car. But nevertheless, it does look quite nice. I do quite enjoy it, but it looks like Mr. Adrian Hadfield doesn't like it as much, and he's trying to get past it and put it in his rear view mirror as soon as he possibly can, trying to take the inside line on the last couple of corners.
What's happened to Mark? Mark's gone around. You can see that there. So I want to get back on that one. It might have caused anything else, but this is the incident between Mark. He's by himself, so I have to say, what's happened to the old M&M's? You want to say, guess the candy, my friend. Guess what happened more than anything, isn't it? And that he has to wait for those cars to come around then, too, sadly.
Yeah, he's hit the inside curb, had a bit of a sugar rush off them M&Ms and just sent his car flying around after putting the accelerator back on. Sadly, he's got to wait till everyone goes past. So, not the ideal situation there for Mr. Proctor, who's down 10 positions now, so sad situation for him. But on a slightly happier note for Mr. Harry Fox at the minute, what a switchback that is, and he comes across onto the inside line now, following up to the next turn for Mr. Harry Fox, and he's not too far behind Mr. Hobson. There's Mr. Hobson. He was hiding behind the timing standings, and well, he's going to have the inside line now. So Ayrton Hadfield has also got his inside line. That's fine, buddy. Ryan Dudley at the minute on the back of this pack of 3. He's trying to get involved, seeing Don't Panic on the wing there, and well, I'm sure he's going to be listening to that every lap of this race. You know, the key is to not panic, and wow, look how close these guys are getting now. And one thing I have noticed is we do have an extra 5 minutes this race. I thought we didn't when I looked at it at the start of the session, but apparently we do. So we have an extra 5 minutes of action to bring you guys tonight.
I think, no, you're right. I was going to say, Hadfield's got an opportunity. Sorry, Ryan's got an opportunity to take a 2-for-1 special here. Not Ryan, sorry. I'm trying to think, is it up on the inside? I'm getting more confused with these liveries, of course, as we get used to it this season.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? At the start of a season, trying to get used to people and their liveries when obviously you and I have both seen different versions of these guys in different liveries, so it's not the easiest thing to remember. But Neil Rocks is going to capitalise on that wicked drift from Ryan Dudley. Ryan Dudley's instantly going to try and put it on the inside line. Don't take too much of that curve, Dudley. We've seen a couple of people being crucified when they do that, so you don't want to be trying that anytime soon at the Hockenheimring. And they're now going to switch up that pack of 3, and Daryl Morrison at the minute, talking of 3s, he's pushing up to be in P3 at the Hockenheimring here. And well, is he going to look up the inside of Mr. Hobson, or is he going to opt for the outside line, which a lot of people are doing into the second turn here at the Hockenheimring? And well, he is going to look towards the outside, then it goes on to the inside, and he's still going to hold the inside for this long straight slash curve. And well, he's going for the draft instead of holding the inside line, which is a very good thing to do, especially in these cars, because well, the draft and the slipstream in these vehicles is very powerful when you're that close together. So Daryl Morrison, he's currently in P3, so he's on that podium spot. He's got 3 seconds grace behind him as well, so don't take too much of the curb though, because look, that's how easy your car goes, so don't be taking too much of that, Mr. Morrison. You don't want to end up in the dirt like some of the other drivers have done so far, and found out the hard way, unfortunately. Good sized crowd at the Hockenheimring as these cars come around to round off 13 minutes in this race so far. Your leader, Mark Brown, with a 4-point lead to Aaron Hobson at the minute in P2. John Sylvester currently battling out to get inside the top 10. Claim as many points as you can, sir. Push up onto the Hadfield of Ayrton there in the light blue bonnet. He's got Ayrton, Hadfield and Kevin Randall. 2 arms that are fighting quite high up, it has to be said, here at the Hockenheimring tonight in race 2. So those guys are trying to get every single bit of this car that they possibly can, and every single point they can possibly get out of round 1 as well. What a start they will have if they finish in positions like that.
What does the Fox say? Harry Fox at the moment, well, he's got to keep Mr. Martin Hobson behind him. And that battle's still continuing, and guess what? Neil Rocks, of course, is in that, and Ryan Dudley start to join that party. Then you got a bit of a gap down to David Smith, who's got a gaggle of cars behind him. So 2 DRS trains, essentially, without the DRS, and there's Martin going around. There's a contact on that one. Very interesting. I don't know. We'll get a replay of that one. Have a look from the old chopper cam. Yeah, there was contact, wasn't there? Just a little nudge out of the corner.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. There, we've had a couple of little like scrapes and nudges and things like that. So, well, hopefully there's not too many more. It doesn't look like there will be with some of the spacings out we have. But well, we have a big mid-pack battle as it stands at the minute between P7 all the way down to P13. So a good sort of 6 to 7 car pack there, and well, that's going to spell for some close battling, but not only that, it's going to spell for possibly some carnage as well. And you can see on the track map there, You know, you've got P1 that's quite far ahead, P2 and 3 quite close together, but this is where the battle is at the minute. This big pack here, and wow, look how close these guys are getting. Dan Wareham's taking the inside line on Sylvester. He's going to have it. Someone spun out in the background. I just heard a collision as well, so I think they've come together. Yeah, not good. Okay, one of the Hadfields is down, so Ayrton needs to keep going as much as he possibly can. Adrian's still going. P14 is not a bad position to be in. And, well, Ayrton Hadfield, I've just seen, is P2 at the minute, and Adrian P3. So they will have fantastic finishing positions if it ends like this.
Oh, contact. And
he tried to avoid it. So close.
Martin, wasn't it? No.
The spun round, isn't it? Hobson?
Yeah,
possibly?
Martin Hobson. This is what happened here. I know that was the one before. So, anyway. Couldn't quite see who that was, but we'll get to the live pictures back at the moment, and we'll continue with this fantastic racing that's happening at the moment. You have to give it to Kevin, as you'd mentioned before, up the road there. Still holding it very, very tight. After I mentioned that Kevin's not having a great day. Not having a great day in race 1, but certainly having a great day in race 2. And he is under attack at the moment. Remember, Kevin is from the AM class, so he probably doesn't mind losing every once in a while to a pro class, but he's still a race driver. He doesn't want to nobody wants to let anybody pass, okay? That's the worst thing that ever happened as a race driver. Don't want to let people overtake you.
No, you're a racing driver. You want to claw up that grid as much as you possibly can, and that's what all these drivers are, well, I wouldn't say desperately trying to do at the minute. Desperation, I don't think, is quite settled in just yet. We're just under 10 minutes left to go. So they're going to be sizing up their opponents now and trying to get their moves done, but I wouldn't say we're on a desperation level yet, but there's a bit of push and shove going on there, and it's Mr. Randall. Yeah, commentator's curse, I think that's all we can say. It's not a coincidence, it's got to be a curse that time. The Castrol livery of Randall has gone round, and he's fallen down now to P4 in the AMS, which is not good. But Hadfields, once again, P1 and P2 in the AMS, so that'll be the second race in a row that these guys will be P1 and P2 for the AMS. Harry Fox is currently in the pit lane as well, your race winner for race number 1. He's in the pit lane, and well, he's back out, so unless he got a drive through maybe, he's now in P12 overall. Ryan Dudley has a bit of clean air in front of him. Rick Wishen has 2 cars ahead of him. Is he going to try and squeeze up the middle and go 3 wide? He's not going to do so. That's one of the Hadfields in front of you, sir. I wouldn't mess with them, because you mess with one, you'll get 2 of them after you. So I wouldn't do that, sir, if I was you. But he's going to opt for the inside line.
One, he's going to catch the other. The other one's running in P8. You never know.
Yeah, very true. He could do both of them. You know, he could get past both of them in, well, not much time at all, really, as he's putting on the pressure here of these 2 cars in front of you. He tried to look for the switchback. I thought there was going to be a bit of contact there, but a wise move. He slightly pulled out. Flashing of the lights there as well for Mr. Oh, there's Castrol livery off again. Please don't tell me that's Mr. Randall. I think that is. I think Kevin Randall's gone off again.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think we've cursed him a bit too much tonight. I think curse was a bit too strong for that Castrol livery to handle, unfortunately. But Rick Wishen is still fine out. He's got past one Hadfield. Obviously, he's going to be tracking down the next one, but there's a bit up the road now as it stands. On board with Adrian Hadfield. This is his view at the minute. 2 cars ahead of him, sitting in P3 currently. Stuart Briley at the minute fighting it out against John O. Johnson at the back, well, towards the back of the pack, really, not dead last.
Oh, Stewie!
And I think that's battling a bit too close. I think that's being a bit too friendly with the league leader, giving him a little peck on the cheek there as they go around the corner. I'm sure John would appreciate the thought, but not appreciate the act as much. And, well, Stuart Briley's pulling into the pits, so unless these guys haven't been told that damage isn't on, I'm not too sure why we see so many people entering the pits.
Is it fuel? Do they have enough to go to the end? They should have enough to go to the end, right?
Yeah, 25 minutes. That's not a long time, so they should be able to have more than enough, really, for this race. So, not too sure what the whole strategy is in terms of the pit lane, but Stuart Briley is in the pits as it stands at the moment. We've only lost 2 cars, so we've still got 19 out on track as it stands at this moment in time. But Alex Sylvester at the minute is pushing up on to the back of Ayrton Hadfield, the leader of the AMS at the moment. And, well, I'm going to be holding wood when I say this, but Ayrton has had a very good race so far and is leading the AMs quite comfortably. I am holding wood, though, because I don't want to curse Ayrton. He's having a very good race, and I want to see the Hadfield battle it out all season long for points, because I think, well, I can't wait to go to one of their family meals and see how spicy their meal gets when things get a bit tight towards the end of the season between those two, because I'm sure it will. Their pace is very similar. Alex Sylvester trying to get up the inside, almost contact there between the two, gets cut off a little bit on the inside, and well, Sylvester's just going to have to settle for P10 at the minute. He's going to possibly look towards the inside on the home straight, doesn't have the momentum to do so just yet. James Bostock in the chat at the minute says drive-through penalties maybe, possibly, if they've brought the incident point limit down. Maybe. I just find it difficult to imagine that some of these guys have got 17 plus.
That shouldn't be a problem at that point, isn't it? You make a little bit of a mistake, of course, Ayrton, and there it is. So the pro driver will snatch that one up as well. The Sylvesters are on a rampage, aren't they? Because John Sylvester is also looking at... well, now get the radio call up there and say, okay, if you are brothers, if you are siblings, well, one of them got the job done. Can you now get the job done there, John? On Mr. David Smith, and right on cue, he might very well be doing this.
Yeah, he looks like he's getting the job done nicely there. And, well, so we are down to 19 cars, and P19 of Stuart Briley, who's back out on track. He is, at the minute, only a couple of corners away from, or a couple of corners ahead of the leader. So hopefully there's no situation between those two. But we haven't got that long left now. We are into the last few minutes of race 2 here. And, well, this night has absolutely flown by with the action that we've seen here tonight. So we'll just wait for these guys to come around. And as it stands, Mark Brown is your leader for the second race as it stands. The 5-second gap there to Daryl Morrison, who's had a fantastic second race. Aaron Hobson, P3, and well, there's the battle. Brian Dudley and Neil Rocks there for battle for P4 as it stands at the moment. Father and son for Sylvesters. Yeah, we need to find out
it is, okay,
the relation for the Hobsons. And
this should be called Family Racing Group. The Tanso Racing Group, because there's so many family members that are part. Which is, you don't see that in many other racing leagues, do you? Not like
no, because normally you get a bit of variation in like the opinions on the car, really, don't you? In the speed of things, and normally, you know, sometimes the fathers or the elders will prefer the slightly older cars, and the younger ones will prefer, you know, to get in your GT3 or something along those lines. But it's nice to see when
the dads want the old, the Ford T model or whatever, the old Mustang or something old school. Go back to the Bugsy Malone days and have one of those beefed up cars. Anyway.
Exactly that. I mean, I have to admit, I'd love to see some TVRs and Triumphs go around in iRacing. That'd be delight for me. I'd happily get on board with some of them. But Daryl Morrison, at the minute, isn't thinking about any kind of other car, make or model. He's trying to get Aaron Hobson, who's just claimed that position, up into P2. They were side by side last time we looked, because Daryl Morrison was in P2. But I think I've cursed him, because the moment I said he was having a good race, the next lap he concedes the position.
That's the overtake right there.
He had the momentum. Aaron had the momentum. Fantastic exit speed there. Carried the position, and well, look at the gap he got in the end, and well, sheer pace alone, fantastic move done there. And you can see Daryl Morrison getting a bit of airtime off the inside curb, and Ewan Bremer says he believes that they are cousins for the Hobsons, I believe. So we will double check that if we speak to any of them in the booth at all this season, but we'll take it as cousins for now. Neil Rocks at the minute fighting it out with Ryan Dudley. We're approaching the last minute of race 2 here, so they should have enough time for one more lap, and then that will be the end of race 2. So not long to go now. So now we are probably in desperation times. You know, if there are any cars within kissing distance of the car ahead, they're going to be looking to make their moves as soon as possible. We may see a lunge or two. This track seems to be a very easy track to lunge in, I'd say, because the track does look very wide with these cars on it. But
yeah, speaking of our new driver as well too, Rick Wilson, that was doing quite well, has had another little moment there. You can off into the grass, and full contact as well too with Scott. I think it was, wasn't it? No, that's not Scott. It's a similar livery,
That's
but
Hadfield.
Hadfield there.
Yeah, that's one of the Hadfields. Adrian.
Hadfield's unfortunate passengers having to see a car go around the corner, and that's just how it all pans out.
Well, the Hadfields aren't sitting too badly because Ayrton's still leading the AMs at the minute. Rick Wishon is in P2, Dave Clark P3, and Adrian Hadfield P4. So P1 and 2 for the first race, and then P1 and 4 for the second race for the Hadfield. So as a team, not too bad at all for the opening round of the season. But the leader has come around now on what I believe is going to be the last lap of the race, because as you can see there, we have gone over the 25-minute mark, and Mark Brown is now leading the race by 5.6 seconds. You would have thought by now he'd have this wrapped up in the bag, but no slip-ups can happen for Mr. Mark Brown. He can't have any spins because, well, Aaron Hobson and Darren Morrison aren't that far behind. These two are still battling out that they have pretty much all race long, really. Ryan Dudley and Neil Rocks swap in position multiple times with each other. And, well, Neil Rocks, this is where he started on the grid, P5, and, well, this may be where he finishes. Ryan Dudley up 7 positions into P4. Harry Fox in a minute, looking to send it on the inside of Mr. Ayrton Hadfield. And, well, he does so. He gets later on the brakes, and, well, Ayrton's going to have the outside line. We've seen Hadfield strong around the outside line here, and, well, he's not going to have it. He's going to let the car ahead go, and, well, Harry Fox, I'm sure, will start to disappear into the distance. Meanwhile, Mark Brown coming around the final few turns now of race 2. Here he comes around the final turn. And there is the checkered flag from Barney, waving it like a hero, a main character in a film, as Mark Brown comes across the line in P1 for race 2. Aaron Hobson P2 and Darren Morrison P3 flashing his lights. And there goes Ryan Dudley and Neil Rocks. What a battle those two have had all throughout the race. Fantastic show. Here comes the first Sylvester of Mr. John. John Sylvester comes through in P6. Dan Warren P7, and then Alex Sylvester P8. We'll wait for the rest of the cars to come through to round off your grid, and we'll bring you your results before we move on to any possible interviews as well. But Biggles, what do you think after the racing we've seen here tonight?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely a cracking of a race. It's now biting it out there, so nerve-wracking. Lots of great overtaking opportunities. A few little incidents, but that's just motor racing. And yeah, just a lot of surprises for some of the drivers, I think. Certainly at that race start wasn't that very, very action-packed with some of the drivers there, just not engaging their clutches properly, trying to get that car off the line there, bogging down a little bit. And that's all it takes. But Mark Brown, not a problem for him at all. And he has disappeared, so we can't see him currently on the track. But that's the rest of the drivers still come across the line. There's Joe Johnson. I think he has to come across the line somewhere as well, too. There he is. Finishing to see Barney's always a good way to finish a race. That's what I say. Doesn't matter where you finish. Yeah,
that's very true.
Is that if you finish, you want to finish. Stuart will be the last one across the line.
There we go. So we'll bring you your results for race 2 in just a second. So it is going to be the two Hadfields going around side by side there. Mr. Mark Brown there in P1. Aaron Hobson P2 and Darren Morrison rounding off your podium for P3. Ryan Dudley P4. Neil Rocks P5. John Sylvester P6. Dan Wareham P7, Alex Sylvester P8, Harry Fox P9, P10 overall Ayrton Hadfield, and your winner for the AMS in race 2. There, rounding off your top 10 is Ayrton Hadfield, David Smith P11, Lee Rylands P12, Mark Proctor P13, Rick Wishon P14, also P2 in AMS, Dave Clark P15, also P3 in the AMS. Adrian Hadfield, P16, Scott Kostrick, P17, Jono Johnston, P18, and then rounding off your grid, you've got Stuart Briley, P19, Kevin Randall, P20, Martin Hobson, P21, and Pete McKendrick, P22. Well, some fantastic racing from what we have seen here tonight. Nothing apart from spectacular as always, and, well, one man we're going to get into the booth straight away is going to be Mr. Mark Brown, who, well, Mark Brown had a bit of a interesting first race, shall we say, but then a fantastic race too. Mark, welcome into the booth. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad. And yourselves, all good?
Yeah, all good over here, mate. Fantastic racing from what we've seen in the booth tonight. And, well, first of all, I want to ask you, race one, come to the end of the race one. What's going through your head? What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? What were you saying to yourself?
Race one didn't go to plan. Qualified pretty high there, so I think it was third in the grid. Got a good start. Struggled a wee bit at the start of it. Got a slowdown. That was my biggest issue. I think it was a couple of laps in, and then trying to shake that slowdown. It was brutal high, and just everyone out past me. So that left me in the middle of the pack. Started working my way slowly through it, and then there was a bit of net code between me and Lee going into the last couple of corners on lap 7 or something, I think. But it is what it is, like, nothing I could do. He come across the front of me with net code, like, so it sort of left me well back, but I fought my way back up for the reverse grid pole. So same. Look, it's not the way I wanted to finish. I'd rather finish higher in the first race and work my way through the pack in the second, but I suppose a win in the second's not too bad, like. With Neil, I got another slowdown actually in the second race, and Neil got very close there and was in my slip, but it took me a couple of laps to try and shake him, and then I just sort of cruised away to a 4 or 5 second lead. So yeah, I would watch my relative pretty closely, but it was good, like, without me own. So.
Yeah, well, it was a fantastic race too, and well, what a way to open the season really with a race win. Yes, it wasn't for both race 1 and race 2, but to get one under your belt at the start of the season, that's got to give you some momentum and that's got to give you some good points to look back on leading into round 2 next week.
Yeah, it's good to have some decent points there. I don't know what actually happened, Harry, in the second race. Did he have to pit for more fuel? I don't know. I think someone said he went into the pits, so I don't know where he ended up, but yeah, it's good to get good points. I'm running with Simtech this season, so Eric, I know he's not here this evening, but me and Eric Ronenberg's teaming up, so we'll try and put a bit of a show on. So it's good to see, start of the season 4, good turnout, and I think the racing wasn't too bad. So yeah, let's hope we can just work from where we ended off and keep progressing this year. So it's good to see some of the familiar faces and all there, and a couple of new faces too. So yeah, it's good. Good mix of racers there. So it should make for an interesting season.
Well, as always, Mark, thank you very much for being in the booth with us. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go on your way here tonight?
Yourselves are doing an awesome job. Brilliant season last season. Brilliant season before. Great job. Good for Tanso, and putting on another season of the GR86, and all the racers were with there, and it's respectful, like, they're a good bunch of racers, and they're forgiven. But yeah, thanks very much, and shout out to my wife for being understanding on a Sunday night.
Well, good luck with the wife. I'm sure you can go off and have a nice happy night with her now after getting a race win. But thank you very much for joining us here in the booth tonight, Mark, and well, we look forward to seeing you in the next round of races.
Yep, good. See you soon. Take care.
Now, what we'll do is we'll go straight into our next one. Our next one's going to be Mr. Daryl Morrison, who finished P3 in race 2. Daryl Morrison, welcome into the booth. How is it going?
I'm alright, Callum. How's you, mate? How was the race for your perspective?
Not bad. I was actually very excited to see your name of all names out there on the grid tonight, because we saw the sheer pace that you had when you joined us late last season, and well, you haven't let us down, really. You haven't let that turn into just hype. You've actually delivered, and well, P3 in race 2. What a fantastic start to the season. You've got to tell me your thoughts leading off of that.
Yeah, well, race 1, got a decent qualifier, P8 I think it was, and then I just had a couple of little wobbles, which is pretty much par for the course for my driving. But Race 2, yeah, pulled it together, got off the grid pretty well, and then just managed to sustain where I was, finishing P3. Yeah, it was a good race. It was just a good all round, absolutely fantastic. And I say it's good to have points in the bag at this stage of the race season. So yeah, it's really good.
Well, a great start, and have you got any personal goals for this season? Obviously, this being your first season with us, have you got a position that you're trying to aim for in the championship?
Yeah, definitely not last. That would be perfect for me. But I say going by how it went tonight, yeah, it's really good. Quite happy with that. Good points in the bag, keeps me up. I think I'm just looking at the table now, P8 in the league. So yeah, I'm happy. That fills me with nothing but joy. And hopefully I can build from here. I don't like Hockenheim as a track in general. I'm quite glad they didn't have the hairpin on it. That's just a recipe for disaster most times. But, it didn't have that, made it better. Although the bit that it cuts out was completely different for me. So once I started to get into the swing of it, yeah, it was good. It was really good. But I would like to, if you don't mind, give a shout out to my wife and my daughter at this moment in time. Helen and Eva, love yous loads. I know yous are watching this, so big thumbs up to your husband and dad. So yeah, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, they were in the chat and they were keeping us company as well in the YouTube chat there. But my final question to you before we let you do any shout outs you wish to do is I see that you're listed as a privateer at the moment. Are you going to be racing with a team this season or teaming up with any other drivers at all and maybe working together in the teams championship?
I've got a few things that I might be considering, yes. I've not talked to anybody on the grid about going with any of them or anything like that at this moment in time. I've got a couple of people on the outside that I'm trying to pry their arm up their back to kind of come in and join. And hopefully one day it'll come to fruition. Because I say the other folk that I race with, there's some doozies there. So hopefully I can draw them in and bolster the Tanso Racing Group, and yeah, hopefully have a great season, get a good team, and yeah, build from there.
Well, I wish you all the best of that. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you off here and enjoy the rest of your night?
Of course, I'll say it once again. Helen, you're the best wife ever. Eva, you're the best daughter ever. Bearing in mind you're my only two wife and daughter that I've ever had, so that's a plus. Thanks for watching, guys. And
Lovely.
Thanks to yous guys as well. Yous do a great job. Love going back and watching it. Superb.
Well, I hope you enjoy the racing tonight. Obviously, you can look back on that and smile with such a great result in our second race there. And, well, a great opening round we had. So I hope you enjoy your night, Morrison, and we'll see you for the next round in the Tanso Racing Group.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. Cheers for it.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So now we're going to move on to our last person in the booth. Now, this person has been part of Tanso for a little while. They were a part of last season. They are one half of the Hadfield family, or should I say 1/3? I think we had 3 last season. But welcome in, Ayrton Hadfield. Ayrton, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you. Nice to see you guys back this season.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Well, Ayrton, the one thing I have to say is what a dominant performance your family had out there tonight. Both Hadfields was at P1 and P2 for the AMS in the first race, and then you go and pull another P1 in race 2. Talk me through that. How are you feeling after the original round?
Yeah, it was a strong performance actually. I struggled with the car a little bit with it being open set this season. I didn't feel like the car had the straight line speed and the speed around the high speed corners that it needed. So I struggled a bit with that. But the car was nice and planted and gave me a lot to work with.
Yeah, no, it looked solid around there, to be fair. And, well, I've asked some of the drivers this so far tonight, and obviously I'll ask you the same question. Bouncing off of that, where are you aiming in the championship? I think I know where you're going to say. And after the performance I saw tonight, I strongly back you for, I'm going to say P1 and P2 at least in the AMS for either one Hadfield or both of the Hadfields. So where are you guys aiming for in the driver standings?
Yeah, so I think we touched on this in one of our interviews at the end of last season. This season, I'm definitely wanting to mount the challenge for one of the trophies. I'd like to be aiming for P3 or above, but as the season goes on and I get a little bit better in the setups and the setup gets a little bit better, hopefully I can keep mounting the challenges like I've done tonight, and we can push for the higher mark trophies rather than the lower ones.
Well, you certainly can after that performance that we saw tonight. There's a fantastic outing, obviously, for the Hadfield family in general. And, well, things could get a bit spicy between you two, I guess, towards the end of the season if you two battle it out like you have been in this opening round. So if this is anything to go by, what a fantastic season we have, not only between the Hadfield family, but between all the AMs. It's going to be close battling as always. But, Ayrton, before we let you go, obviously, as always, is there anyone you wish to shout out here in the booth with us today?
Yeah, like big shout out to my dad. He had a brilliant first race, especially. I saw that he come right behind me, so we both scored some strong points for the team championship this season in the first round. So he definitely did a good drive on that race.
Well, thank you very much for joining us in the booth tonight, Ayrton. We look forward to seeing you in the future rounds of Tanso, and well, wish you all the best for next week. Hopefully, the results are just as good as what they were tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Well, Biggles, that rounds off, I'd say, probably the best opening session, or the best opening rounds I think I've seen since being a part of the Tanso broadcast. So, well, see if you can sum up what we saw tonight.
I'd say if you're foaming at the mouth for some good motor racing action, of course, at the Tanso Racing Group, then you definitely will have a mouthful, don't you, of motor racing, because you'll be foaming. You'll be drooling for more of this fantastic racing. So that's probably what I was looking for. But yes, and a big shout out there to everybody that's been watching. Of course, Phil across the pond there. The family support that we heard before from the drivers, that goes a long way, doesn't it? Like, just fans in general, family coming to watch their husbands and you know, brothers and sisters and all that sort of stuff there. And of course, there's that oil there, 100 gallons, I think it is. Callum will measure that for you later on, but we won't be back here, of course. Where we'll be heading off to the next rounds there too, Callum.
So the next rounds after this, well, round 2 is sticking around with the German theme. We are going to the Nürburgring GP next on the 23rd of July. So make sure you note that down in your diary. So we're staying in Germany for the Nürburgring GP. So looking forward to that round. Then we follow to Brands Hatch and then Rudskogen, followed by VIR. Then final is Alton Park. So there's a lot to look forward to, but we're sticking with Germany for now, and it's the Nürburgring GP next time out. But, well, we've now got a week to try and regain our voices, catch our breath, and, well, all these GR86 drivers to find a new set of tyres. So we look forward to seeing you again next week in Germany at the Nürburgring, as always. I've been Callum Mileham with Biggles in the booth. It's been fantastic, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, stay safe. We look forward to seeing you again soon.